What's up guys? We're going over the Legend car angle kit kind of a little more in depth. So we extracted all of the parts required from one single scan, and then we are going to go in and scan all of the parts individually, but I was able to get the majority of what I needed. So we have separated things like the shock, the knuckles, the steering rack, everything that needs to move we've separated. You can kind of see how that looks here. I also separated the fenders so that I could get a better visual, but this is essentially how it's going to look and how it'll behave. The main things that we needed to do were relocating everything. The shock originally bolted here on the end of this compression arm, and even the factory setup of the car, the tie rod would hit the shock immediately. And if you notice here, we made a knuckle for this, which moves the tie rod closer to the pivot point. It's actually already running into the shock and we haven't even turned right there. So that was one of the first things that really needed to be relocated. The shock is now centered with the subframe, whereas prior to this it was bolted offset. And then it's also bolted in the middle of the control arm with this double shear mount. That is going to make the shock shorter, but with the extra length of the arm and the motion ratio change and then the adjustment in the coilover, I'm hoping we can get it short enough to fit in this place. If we can't, I can redo these brackets to then hold the new point higher. It's like we essentially just move the whole shock up. So this is all trial and error with an educated guess on everything. The next thing we did was widen the track with a ton. So the original hub is here and the new one is here. We widened it by a good 60 mil, so over 2 inches. We changed the ratio and we corrected the Ackerman, so we have slight positive Ackerman. It looks like we're gonna get about 51 degrees on the lead wheel and 46 on the trail, and the limitation there is the wheel is going to run into the exhaust. So that was one of the things I was really simulating a lot. You can see over here in the corner. So right when it's about to touch it, and it obviously varies on the position and ride height and whatnot, but if we check this, we are looking at an angle of approximately 50.5 degrees right when we're about to rub there. Now this can be pushed over a little bit. I was pushing on it. We could probably squeeze another degree or two. The arms are also adjustable. I could go another 20 mil from this position out. So I just don't want to mess up the track width to the rear too much because we're already pretty wide, but we can go wider. The other things that we did was adding a ton of caster and a lot more camber. The knuckles from Legends, I actually just learned this morning. These are like their V2, V3 knuckles. They're aluminum, they used to be steel. But I noticed they really had no KPI built into them. So the ball joint goes here, and it's nearly the same spacing off of the bearing. So that's an unusual design because double wishbone knuckles require the KPI to be built into the knuckle, and there's basically none built into this. So your KPI angle is equal to basically your camber. So the only way to get more KPI is to add more camber. We like to have those values separated. We want the KPI to be starting at, a low number would be 6 degrees with the wheel at 0 camber. And then if you had -5, you'd probably have around 11 or 12 degrees of KPI. And then I went to buy one of these spindles. I want to have one that we can test fit stuff on, brakes and whatnot. And then I noticed they offer like a competition knuckle, and then wouldn't you know it, it's got the KPI added into the knuckle. Obviously there's handling, self-steering, there's all kinds of characteristics that come from that. The question will be, do we reuse their knuckles or do we design our own that kind of has better mechanical trail, better caster values, and better KPI for what we want to use them for? Ultimately, we're trying to get the most feedback to the driver at the wheel. It's a manual rack and it's a very light car. So we're not going to be able to get a ton of self-steer out of this thing, because the more self-steer you add using these different methods, the harder it's going to be to turn the car due to it being manual rack, and we're already shortening the ratio a ton. We did go ahead and get this steering quickener from Speedway, so you can see it takes 2 turns here to get 1 turn there. This is going to actually be installed in reverse, so we're going to be putting the steering wheel on this side, which is going to be turning more than the rack, because the rack was only full lock to full lock was less than a turn and a half. Further reducing the ratio, you would go full lock to full lock with about, I don't know, like a quarter turn each way, maybe half turn each way. That's going to be an issue for self-steer and for drivability. So installing this in reverse, it's going to be essentially full lock will be somewhere around there, and that will be about a turn and a half to get there, bringing us closer to an OEM car, which is 900 degrees, turn and a half both ways. It'll probably still be a bit less than that, to be honest. The only thing I'm worried about this is getting the friction out of it. It's brand new, so maybe it just needs to be, you know, driven hard and loosened up. So that's one thing that we need to fix. So we set up the control arms to be two-piece design with this allowable slot. That's going to give us the ability to adjust caster quite well separately. We have smooth adjusters going on the caster or compression arms, and then we were only able to fit heim joints on and bungs on the subframe. Not that big of a deal, especially being like single shear everything on these cars. You can just take the bolt off, turn it once, put the bolt back in. We won't be changing that much. Once we set our camber up, we're not really going to touch it. We will be adjusting, you know, track width and caster quite a bit to get the self-steer to feel good. So I really wanted those to be on-car adjustable, and they are. Also, toe, obviously, is going to be on-car adjustable. So that's kind of the packaging that we needed to do. And this arm needed to be in this shape to clear the coilover. Now that we made it central, the factory one is perfectly straight. All kinds of little things that we needed to do to avoid, but you can see that the kinematics and motion is pretty solid. And then we even tuned in the bump steer to be quite good. And then we can mess with that, obviously raising or lowering the pickup points. So I'll lock the steering rack and we'll unlock the shock. And we're going to see if this is going to behave. Kind of, when you get this many joints going, it doesn't really want to behave that well. And it really depends where you're grabbing. Sometimes if you grab, like, it won't even move if I grab the actual shock. Then if I grab out here, it does. Anyways, you get the idea. That's what we're looking at. I didn't put any bolts or hardware in this because they all use bolts right through heim joints and then washer and clamp it. We're going to do something similar, but we used 5/8 heim joints everywhere instead of half, because that's going to allow us to put inserted spacers, and then we can offset heim joints with different stacks. So it's going to just give us a little more freedom with positioning of control arms. And then we do need to do something. We have to do a stud adapter from our comm bearing to the knuckle. The knuckle has a Dodge outer tie rod. That's what they use. And it's, I don't know what the taper is because I don't have one. I do have the knuckle. So we'll find out what we're going to do there. We're going to throw it on and see what happens. The goal is also to redo the steering shaft and all of the support bearings for it. So we have universal steering kits that we sell. So we're going to connect some heim joints, get that moving nice and free. And then I want to put this in a position where we may not use this or something, and we could easily remove it. That's going to be the goal there. The other thing I wanted to do, but I forgot, was put a racing ratio on the steering knuckle as well. And I forgot to do it, unfortunately. Basically a position that was back to where the factory one went, so that if we did want to do some road course stuff, I can just reconnect the outer tie rod. The other exciting thing that we're working with Willwood as well to make like a really nice road course kit for this with proper 11 3/4 inch vented rotors, 2-piece with good 4-piston calipers, so that this thing could actually get a sticky tire on it and do multiple laps. Given the engine will take that, I know the liquid-cooled Hayabusa, they would probably handle it. I have the air-cooled one, so unless you're going fast in a straight line, I don't think it'll take that many laps, but that's the gist of it. So yeah, you're gonna see us kind of go through it, see all of the issues, and replace these old parts with some new ones. We need this. So take a break on the tree puller, you're building Legends car parts.
Huge Legend.
He knows, he's the Legend expert. Is it Legend or Legends?
Legend.
No S.
Not plural.
Dude, AI said with an
like
S.
ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Yeah, it f***ed you.
Yeah.
It's just a Legend car. Yeah, I've never actually been on YouTube before.
Really?
So this is weird. Yeah.
What's your name?
I don't have one.
I got the angle kit now for it. I've got to go do some things. He's gonna build the kit, and because he's an expert, I don't have to tell him anything. I just give him a couple pictures. He's gonna make it, we're gonna bring the car in, and then it should bolt right up. This is Minecraft version, pre-production, no proper layout. So I just took a picture for him from the screen grab. And we have the lower control arms with some shock mounts that are gonna go on. You can still hear with that thing. So those go on like this, and then we're gonna put a uniball cup here. Always making sure that the snap ring is down, because this arm has a shock that goes to it. Shock pushes down on the arm, knuckle pulls up on the arm. We want it to pull up into the shoulder of the cup, so that's why the snap ring is always down. The upper control arms look like that. The bend is for caster and camber correction to give the bearing good articulation, so that's what this is for. These are essentially compression arms. They're going to be bolting on like so, and then we're going to put little feet on the end like that, and then our smooth adjuster is going to go through here, Heim joint to chassis, and we're good to go. And then one last thing, these are shock relocation plates. So they actually bolt on to the little Legend subframe, and then they relocate the shock centered and further out. And the reason we need to do that is because the coilover is completely in the way, and we need to center it rather than having it offset to do that. So he wasn't kidding. These pieces of paper are hot.
See, some guy's gonna come running in here, grab a hold, burn their mitts, and then I'm gonna get in trouble.
No, you didn't tap them, eh? Well, you just made it twice as hard to tap now. Now we're gonna go rig something up to make sure we can thread it.
Well, at least you got something to clamp to now.
You're not wrong. I can vice this up.
Those are the only things that need to be.
These are the only things that are cool, and they're the only things that need to be tapped. The rest of it, we're going to assemble it. We're not going to powder coat it, because you never know if you got to cut, grind, weld, change, or further modify something like this. Because when it fits in CAD on the computer, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fit on the car. And these cars are really bent, I think, just all the time. Oof, that's a lot of force on this little $1 vise, but what do we got in here? A 3/8. Let's get a half 20 on this Johnny. See how this goes. You know, it's actually a good thing that he welded that on, because that little piece definitely would have been harder to hold. What a beauty little thread in there. Can you see that? All right, so I put on the longest full thread bolt that we had, which is the 1.75 inch. So we'll thread that baby in there. So the idea is when the car turns, the lead wheel, this bump stop will hit the control arm. So we'll add a jam nut. Threads in real nice. We don't know where this is going to be, that's for sure. We're playing with a lot of things, the steering ratio being the biggest one. It's going to put a lot of leverage on the little rack that's in there, so that's going to be the one question mark. Plus we have a steering quickener in reverse. No idea how that's going to go. I know we need everything to be nice and free to rotate. We're definitely going to be patching together a lot of hardware, because I didn't size any of the hardware. I just constrained the ball joints in the CAD model. So we're going to be over here a lot. There you go. It's an angle kit for your Legend car. Just like that, little mini kit.